Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the 2024 race for the White House ramps up. We'll take a look at where President Biden is taking his message and the big shakeup at the RNC. Plus, a new report defending the police response to the Uvalde school shooting has parents outraged. We'll take a look at how the report aims to justify the police response.
Plus, rain chances continue through Saturday, but high pressure is back for Sunday. Your forecast coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts right now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. This week, the general election campaign kicked off in earnest with President Biden traveling to a key battleground state this afternoon. This comes as former President Trump is completing a takeover of the Republican establishment. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Biden is taking his 2024 message on the road, speaking tonight in Pennsylvania, one of the states that decided the last presidential election.
Will you commit to a debate with former President Trump? It depends on his behavior.
Thursday night, the president delivered a fiery State of the Union address, previewing the campaign ahead.
Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today.
Without using his name, he referenced his likely 2024 challenger more than a dozen times, warning of threats at home and abroad.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote.
The current president and former will both hold dueling rallies in Georgia, another battleground state, on Saturday, ahead of the state's primary on Tuesday. Next week, former President Trump is poised to officially win the delegates needed to clinch the GOP nomination.
I'm stepping aside today.
Friday, Republican National Committee Chair Ronna McDaniel stepped down, paving the way for Trump loyalists, including his daughter-in-law, to be elected.
Winning the White House back is just too important for me to do otherwise. President Trump deserves to have the team he wants in place at the RNC.
The new leaders will try to close the significant fundraising gap. Records from February show the Biden campaign and DNC have roughly double the cash on hand compared to Trump's team and the RNC. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Biden campaign confirmed that it had raised more in the 2 hours during the State of the Union speech Thursday night than it had during any 2-hour period since launching his campaign last April. One cabinet member was not in attendance for the president's State of the Union speech last night. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona was this year's designated survivor, serving that role in the event of a disaster. Cardona stayed in an undisclosed location during the time President Biden delivered his speech. Cardona is 15th in the presidential line of succession. He became the Secretary of Education in March 2021. Former President Donald Trump has posted a nearly $92 million bond as he appeals the E. Jean Carroll defamation judgment against him. In January, a federal jury awarded Carroll $83.3 million in damages because they felt Trump's statements were defamatory. The bond is greater than the judgment because the court requires a party to post 110% of the award. Carroll said Trump raped her in a department store dressing room in the 1990s, something Trump denies. A British court has ordered former President Trump to pay a $385,000 legal bill after throwing out a lawsuit he initiated. The order issued last month said Trump had to pay consultant firm Orbis Business Intelligence's legal fees. The firm, founded by former British spy Christopher Steele, alleged in 2017 that Trump conspired with Russia to win the 2016 presidential election. Justice Karen Stein threw out the case because she believed it was bound to fail. Former GOP Congressman George Santos announced he's running for the U.S. House again. Santos, who once represented New York's 3rd District, was expelled from the House last year after a scathing ethics report that criticized his conduct and possible misuse of campaign funds. He was seen Thursday night at the U.S. Capitol during President Biden's State of the Union address. Santos posted his intent to run during the president's speech using the X social media platform.
We are tracking some more dreary weather as we close out the work week, and as we go into this Friday evening, be sure to pack the umbrella as more off and on showers are likely. Zooming into places close to the Mountain Parkway for Estill County, pushing into Lee County, also for Powell County, moving into Menifee and Morgan counties at this hour as well. And same story for the Big Sandy Valley close to Salyersville, pushing into Paintsville from Johnson County. A few more light showers are possible. We are not done with the moisture just yet. As we zoom out, we are tracking some widespread rain and some severe weather in Mississippi, pushing into Alabama. The good news for us, no severe weather, but more moisture is on the way as we go into this evening. Also for the first half of your weekend, a live look across the region. We are cloudy on this Friday. Anywhere you go, we are looking at plenty of cloud cover, and those temperatures are close to average in the middle to upper 50s and a few 60s as well, up to 64 in Manchester, 60 for Jackson, and 56 over in Pike County for Pikeville at this hour. Most of us stay mild into this evening, lows in the middle 50s, watching out for a few showers, also some dense fog, more wet weather tomorrow, but high pressure is on the way by Sunday, so we see some more sunshine. Those details in just a little bit. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Turning now to Uvalde, Texas, where parents of students killed in the 2022 school shooting are livid after a new report defends the police response. That investigation of the attack, commissioned by city leaders from a former police detective, contradicts state and federal reports that found police made a series of mistakes. CBS's Omar Villafranca shows us the outraged response from parents.
How dare you?
There was anger over accountability. It's been nearly 2 years since the massacre at Uvalde's Robb Elementary, and tempers flared after the latest report on the Uvalde Police Department's response during the school shooting.
My son's birthday is on Tuesday. You know how I'm going to celebrate that? At the cemetery. I should not be doing that.
For the first time Thursday, the community and the city council heard the findings of a months-long independent investigation requested by the city. Former police detective Jesse Prado led the investigation.
All of the officers, Lieutenant Martinez, his actions I found were in good faith.
He concluded that many officers in the school that day acted in good faith and did not violate policy in their reaction to the shooting. He said the officers didn't have the proper training that day or the tools, like a rifle-rated shield, to overtake the gunman.
How do you go to bed at night?
Parents were outraged, saying the officers put their safety first.
They stood there 77 minutes and waited. After they got call after call, the kids were still alive in there.
The Uvalde police internal investigation is ongoing, but none of the roughly 24 officers that responded that day have been terminated.
You fire those officers, you fire them, and you do so with your head held high because you know that that is the right thing to do.
Omar Villafranca, CBS News.
The U.S. military has lifted the grounding guidance for the military's V-22 Osprey fleet. This comes about 3 months after the entire fleet was grounded following a deadly crash off the coast of Japan. 8 airmen died in that crash, and there have been several other deadly crashes during the last few years. The Air Force, Marine Corps, and Navy are expected to resume flying the aircraft during the next several weeks. The U.S. military is developing portable UFO detection kits to collect better data on reports of sightings. That's even though the Pentagon says there is no evidence of extraterrestrial technology or alien life. The sensor and detection system is called Gremlin. Officials are looking to send them to sites with reports of unidentified objects. Authorities said approximately 1,200 cases have been reported. Microsoft says Russian state-backed hackers gained access to some of its core software systems in a hack first disclosed in January. The tech firm revealed in a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission a more extensive and serious intrusion into its systems than previously known. The software giant believes in recent weeks hackers used information stolen from its corporate email systems. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, with just a little more than 1 month left to file your taxes, what you need to know to avoid scammers.
Plus, we are tracking some more wet weather to start the weekend. Your forecast after this break.